Thank you for tuning in today to I Retire for Him.
You've tuned in to I Retire for Him. We are your hosts, Jim and Martha Brangenberg.
This podcast is dedicated to Christ followers all over the country seeking purpose in their retirement years.
The facts are clear. Most Christians plan on retiring, but don't know what they are retiring to do.
And let's also be clear, if you have a pulse, you have a purpose.
If you're not dead, you're not done.
And when you retire, your calling didn't retire with you.
Your retirement years can be 30 years of purpose-driven, fully funded ministry years of making impact in ways and places you never imagined.
Please check us out online at iretire4him.com, iretire4him.com. You may notice that this show has been recorded in conjunction with our I Work for Him podcast. We felt this recording had so much to offer both the I Retire for Him and I Work for Him audiences that we're releasing on both platforms today. When you have a storied career and you finally retire, all you want to do is check out and go on vacation for a few decades. But not our guest today. Ross Harrop spent 33 years with the Boy Scouts of America and retired in 2008. I guess he wanted to go into full-time ministry because then he became an executive pastor for several years. But then God moved Ross and his wife Jill to Largo, Florida, and let's just say that changed everything. Ross and I met for coffee, and a Mountain Dew, of course, on Valentine's Day 2012. To have a conversation about his future. Ross was searching for meaning and purpose in his retirement years, and he wasn't ready to just walk the beaches and look for seashells every day. Meanwhile, back at the Brangenberg Ranch, I was in talks with a group called C12 about becoming a chair for their Christian business roundtables in our county. I realized that the job wasn't for me, it was for Ross, and that's the rest of the story. Ross Harrop has now been a C12 chair for over 12 years, and has a story to tell about his own transformation and how his retirement years have been anything but vacation, but so very fulfilling. Ross Harrop, welcome to I Retire for Him.
It's great to be back with the two of you. And if anyone wants to know how that original meeting at Panera, what it was like and who was drinking the Mountain Dew, I'd be glad to fill them in.
Now, they all know.
But I have been blessed by that meeting and your guidance and introduction to C12. So it's great to be together.
I'm still addicted to Mountain Dew. Drink one just about every day. All right, Ross, do you and Jill ever get a chance to look for seashells at the beach anymore?
And one of the great parts of living here is that our two of our children moved here, the two sons, and our daughter is about to move back. So
wow.
Being on the beach occasionally is part of our routine, and it's part of the family reunion. And so we're excited that hopefully in the very near future, we'll have all 14 of us together and right here in Pinellas County.
Oh, that's fun. You know, Jim was saying in the intro that you really, in the world's eyes, had a chance to check out, retire when you were done with the Boy Scouts. Why didn't you do that?
Well, the interesting thing is that's why we originally had purchased our home here, a smaller home, and it was going to be our retirement home. And then, as you'll recall, as an executive pastor, I helped reorganize the church leadership, eliminated my position, which was on my bucket list to do. I always thought that would be cool.
Cool to eliminate your job, yeah.
Write yourself right out of the
right out of it,
plan.
And strengthen the organization and financial sustainability and all of those things that go into that. But moving down here, I didn't know what I was going to do. And Jim, that's how you and I got together. I was looking, and you were the one person that really took the time and helped guide me, which is, I think as we're talking about from both points of view, but from the retirement, is taking the time to help people find out where are they going to be passionate and then help them get aligned. And you did that for me.
We now have a tagline for it because here's where it goes. When you retire, your calling didn't retire. If you've got a pulse, you've got a purpose. And if you're not dead, you're not done.
Yeah, well, that was certainly the case for me. And I didn't know what that was going to be as we moved here to Tampa Bay, but that certainly was the case. God, again, getting identify with where God is at work. That was the key for me. Not what did I want to do, but where was God at work. And so
when I described to you, the way that whole thing went is that I've been working on applying for this job, trying to take over the C12 chair. And I was looking at him like, the Lord showed me in a dream that I was supposed to tell you about the job and not me. Think how much easier my life would have been if I had been a C12 chair in the last 12 years. And
I don't know that'd be easier,
maybe
just different.
Well, it'd be simpler. It would have been all the things we've done. But anyway, I said to you, Ross, go to this website, look up this chair position, and I'll call you in 3 hours. I got to go. And when I called you back, called you back, you go, Jim, if I could spend the rest of my life doing that one thing, that's what I want to do. And we're like,
and it's been that way for the last 13 years.
That's right.
And
so over those 12 plus years, I mean, it was April of 2012 that I told you about it. You became a chair. I think you finished it up in August of 2012. So you've poured your life into countless Jesus-following business people as a chair for C12 online at c12group.com. How has that changed your life?
Well, certainly it was all in God's timing and God's plan. And he knew that the experiences that I had as we moved around the country with the Boy Scouts and then as an executive pastor were all in preparing me to serve alongside these CEOs and presidents and Christian business owners. So all of those experiences prepared me to do this. And had I not had those different experiences, I wouldn't be able to fulfill the responsibilities as a C12 chair.
But the question was, how did it change your life? How has pouring your life into all those others changed Ross Harrop?
Well, the fact that God had a plan, he had wired me in such a way, he was ready to recharge my batteries after an amazing career, 33 years, as you said, with the Boy Scout. And then as an executive pastor, he knew what I needed. And then that was to get up every morning and be fulfilled with what I was doing and leaning into people's lives. So it changed my life. And here I am into my early 70s, still as excited as I was when I was first introduced to it 13 years ago. So it's changed my life because I get to do that which he prepared me to do.
Yeah. Well, speaking of things that have changed your life, Ross, we have things that have really changed ours along the way. And one of those has been putting our focus on where our money goes and who it is supporting. And you've actually followed along on that journey for quite a bit of it. But one of the things that we've changed is who we use as our cell phone provider. Patriot Mobile is a company whose values align with ours, and they fight for things that we believe in. So we still have our phone on the best tower for where we live and travel, but our dollars are being used to support faith, family, and freedom. PatriotMobile.com/I work for him allows you to switch using a U.S.-based customer service and support the message of I work for him all at the same time. All right, Ross, tell us about the role that you have as a C12 chair. What does that look like?
It depends on the day, depends who I'm meeting with. And it's so unique because some days I'm that business coach. Sometimes it's the personal coach. Sometimes, very rarely, but on occasion, I become the consultant. Running the full day C12 experience, it's called C12. Don't tell anybody, Jim, Martha. But there was this guy named Jesus that thought if he brought 12 together, it would be the right number. And Buck Jacobs felt that if that was Jesus' model, that was what he was going to follow. So we bring together for a full day each month, following the national and now international curriculum. I get to be a facilitator as well. So all of these things, sometimes maybe I'm called to be a pastor, sometimes to just be a shepherd. So it really differs based on the people, the divine appointments that God brings into my life.
Would you consider yourself a mentor or a discipler?
Yes. Yeah.
I knew he was going to say that. Son, yes.
Yeah. It's, again, one of the great parts of this role is that I get to work with those. Now, I have some members, CEOs, that have been with me for 13 years.
Wow.
They're, most of them, spiritually mature. And then on the other hand, there are some that as they come in, they profess to be Christian or willing to grow in their faith. So sometimes that part is more discipleship. So I think back, Jim, to our earliest days together talking about C12, and you said, I just don't want to be tied in. I have never, and again, that's the uniqueness, and how God has woven you and I, but I just have never felt limited. I felt like I could do whatever I wanted within these very broad boundaries of C12. It's been amazing. Almost 13 years.
Can you imagine what it would have been like if you had just retired and did nothing?
Yeah, I wonder if I'd still be living here doing, because I think that's how God, wired me, and it's an interesting in how we got here. I had left scouting, had left the church, and I sat down with a woman who was an expert, written books on resume writing, and she said, "Do you have a favorite quote?" And I said, "No." She said, "Well, it could be your own quote." On the way home, I stopped at a little diner, and on the back of a napkin, the Holy Spirit gave me this phrase: "God has a purpose for my life that is so compelling, I must pursue it with passion." And that was it. It was on the back of a napkin, had nothing to do with anything I had thought about before. And I remember she put it on the top of that resume, and and again, I still share that same, just little reminder that I'm doing what God has asked me to do. And
you're helping those that you are leading in your C12 groups to do the same thing, because that's a lot of what C12 is about, right? Is narrowing in on, whether it's the business aspect of it, all of the things that you're helping. So many people don't have someone further down the road with the experience that God's given you, with the wisdom and the counsel and the ability to be a scheduled listener. At times, like you said, you get to fill all these roles and do that for somebody who wants to be better in the name of Jesus Christ in what their calling is. So I imagine in the last dozen years or so, you've seen some pretty miraculous transformations take place in people's lives. Can you give us an example of one or two?
Absolutely. I think of one CEO who was being discipled by a member of C12. He's already in C12, and he's being discipled by his buddy. And so he gets involved. We meet. He joins, and it wasn't too many months later that his wife says to him, "I don't know what this C12 thing is all about, but it has changed who you are as an individual, as a spouse, as a dad."
For the good. For the good, right? Change for the good.
Thank you, Martha. Yeah. And I thought I was the one with sarcasm.
I just wanted to clarify.
He wasn't being sarcastic.
No, I just wanted to make sure we were on the same page. Change him for the good.
But when that individual has become the spiritual leader of his house, of his family, because he hadn't grown up that way, and he didn't know what it looked like, but he knew that he saw that in his friend. And so when his friend says, "Hey, this is helping me become a better CEO, to be a better believer," and that to me is one of those miraculous, occurrences when you change a life for the good.
Amen.
That's God doing what only God can do. And he used C12 in doing that. And then seeing people don't join C12 to become better Christians necessarily. That's an outcome. Right? As Tony Dungy likes to say, winning the Super Bowl is the outcome. Creating team is what we're about. In with football. Well, it's the same thing here. We're just trying to help people become better businessmen or women, and then along on that faith journey, they become stronger in their faith and learn how to incorporate that in. And that's what your program's about. Is just helping people understand, seeing others on how they can apply their faith in their business, which our country has told us we can't do, which we know we must.
Oh, and our country may be telling us that, but our leadership, some of our leadership in our country may be telling us that, but our country is telling us the opposite, because our country is looking for purpose. And if believers get a chance to stand up for their faith in the marketplace, in whatever their workplace is, this country will never be the same in the right way. It's so fantastic, Ross, the influence you've had over all of these people and spent your time that you poured into their lives over the last 12 plus years. We can all have influence in the marketplace in one way or another. But when we have a data breach or a virus on our computers, it can sure take us off course. At I Work For Him, we trust SaferNet to protect our devices, including our phones, through the use of their really great software. Its dashboard allows us to control what's happening behind the scenes and keeps disruptions away. SaferNet's VPN, website filters, and many other features help us to keep our eyes fixed on the mission God has given us, while SaferNet keeps their eyes on the disruptors. Go to safernet.com and mention you heard about them on I Work For Him. All right, Ross, here's a question. Do you have to be retirement age to be a C12 chair?
No, we have those that represent every generation. But typically, they're looking for people who have spent 10 years in business, so that you have some of those experiences to help others, and had a business of we say in C12 that our prospects are those that have at least 10 members or staff members and $2 million. Now we have those companies that are billion-dollar companies and several hundred million companies. But same thing for chairs. They want to have those that typically come and have a strong business background. And as you know, having come from the Boy Scouts of America, when I first started the interview process, I remember the leadership saying that we have a bias against you because you come from the not-for-profit sector. But in my case, the Boy Scouts of America, was like any other, corporation and with very business-like methodology, and so with strategic planning and all of those things that help me as I'm helping others today.
Yeah.
So,
I just love being reminded of how, again, God has prepared you for this season that you've been in with C12. And, for a lot of people, we know that the reality is that they look at somebody like you and they still think about the word retirement. And Ross, you probably have a couple of decades left in you. What is God telling you about those years and how he's going to use you?
I have a friend that's a chair, and when I sometimes will talk about, wow, just turned 72, and they go, wow, how great is it that you have your best years ahead of you and all these experiences that you can use that wisdom to share with others. And so I'm reminded of that. And 20 years, maybe, I don't know, but there is no retirement age as a C12 chair. It's when can you use your experiences and God's calling to help others. And that's the biggest thing. And I'm still doing that and still enjoying it every morning and to get up. So
That's fantastic. If we were to get Jill on, your bride of 50 plus years, no, let's see, 50 plus years.
It will be 50 years in June.
50 years in June. Okay.
Well, congratulations.
If we were to ask Jill how this job has made you a better man of God, what would she say?
She would tell you that some of the things of my behavior hasn't changed. The willingness to help people and being all in, and that, but being a movement of faith as followers of Jesus Christ makes all the difference. And so she would say that part makes it enjoyable to be on journey. As we, just a week ago, we had dinner with members, husband and wife, and you can connect with them right away because they have the same values that you have, or as we like to say, the core principles. Right. The principles never change. Yeah. So
some of our listeners are thinking, I want to find out more about C12, about how I'd become a chair, or maybe they're thinking, I want to become a member because I could use this for my own organization. I could use that for my own business. How do people find out more about C12?
Very simple. JoinC12.com. So it's just JoinC12.com. Can't get much easier than that.
Nope, that's pretty easy.
That is pretty easy. Ross Harrop, I know God wove our lives into within each other, part of that tapestry that he does many, many years ago. It's been a lot of years since we've caught up, but we're so grateful for how you're pouring your life into others. We're so grateful for the example that you set for those that are heading into retirement thinking, what am I going to do? And you're like, there's all kinds of stuff for you to do. There is so much that our society needs. For those of you contemplating retirement, please do not give up. Find your calling within your retirement years. Ross, thanks for setting that example.
Well, thank you for doing that. And now adding, as you have for so long, the retirement angle. That, again, one of the books that changed my life was Experiencing God by the Blackaby's. Mm-hmm. And he says, don't try to do something on your own. Find out where God is at work and then join him. Right. And that's how I got to Florida. Yeah,
that's fantastic. Thank you, Ross Harrop.
Thank you for influencing my life and doing what I'm doing today. And it's great to catch up. Thank you.
You've been listening to I Retire for Him with your hosts, Jim and Martha Brangenberg. We're Christ followers planning our retirement journey so we can say, I retire for Him.
Thanks for listening to I Retire for Him with your hosts, Jim and Martha Brangenberg. Most Christians tend to follow the world's pattern of rest and self-pampering during retirement. However, in your retirement, you can be focused on God's unique call to love, serve, and help others. This can be your best season of life if you take advantage of a life's worth of knowledge and experience and combine it with a greater freedom of time and money and invest it all in the generations both preceding and following you, encouraging Christians to find and follow God's call in all seasons and aspects of life, especially in retirement. So you can say, I retire for Him.